All right. Stand up if your name is Abigail and it's your birthday today. Oh, good. Abigail, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday, Abigail. Okay. All right. Okay, how about this? Stand up if you came to the Youth Summit last year and you're back this year. Wow. All right. Okay, stay standing if you've been at the summit for more than 3 years. 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. How, like 6 years, 7 years? Okay, now we're getting some drops. 8 years, 9 years, 25 years. Okay, it's only been around 18 years. All right, and how about this? I always like to end with this question. Stand if this is your very first Christian Youth Summit. Oh my goodness. All right. It is good to have you here. You may sit down now. Yes. All right, for all of you first years, you have no idea what's in store. By tomorrow night at 4 o'clock, when we say see you later in 2026, if your brain isn't hurting, we didn't do our job right, because we are going to open the fire hose of information. We are going to build your Christian worldview, one speaker, one breakout at a time, and we are so excited that you are here. Are you ready for your very first speaker? Yeah. Okay, let's get to it. Open up your books to page number 1. Page number 1. Actually, no, page number 2. Page number 1 is his face. Page number 2 is where you're going to take some notes. Click that mechanical pencil 2 times so you're ready to go. And let me tell you a little bit about who's coming to the stage. Your first speaker for the 2025 Christian Youth Summit is a speaker with Stand to Reason. He's a graduate of Biola. He is a former atheist, not for 1 year or 2 years, but for like some 26 years. He'll tell you more about that. He found that when he examined the evidence for Christianity, that Jesus is who he says he is. He is a pastor, a husband, and a father of 3 girls. Please welcome to this stage, Jonathan Noyes. Jonathan.
Thank you. All right, it is good to be here. I'm coming from Los Angeles, California, where I live with my amazing wife, Rihanna. And I don't have 3 girls, I have 4. You guys can actually pray for me. Okay, I have an almost 15-year-old, she'll be 15 in 2 weeks. I have a 13-year-old. I have a 12-year-old. And I have an 8-year-old. Guys, there is somebody always crying in my house. Always. And it's usually me in the fetal position, off in the corner, what's going on, you know? And I miss them terribly. I travel a lot for work. I get to do this. This is my dream job. I get to travel around the world and train Christians to think about the worldview that we say we possess. And even though I miss them, I do have to say I'm incredibly glad to be with you. And I want to stress something here, students. Like, take your eyes off of the books, just for a second. I'm here for one reason. And students, I'm here for you. You are the reason why I hopped on a plane late yesterday, and I'm here in, where am I, Bend, Oregon? You're the reason why I'm here. That means I want to spend as much time as I possibly can with you. If you have questions, now is the time to ask them. If you have doubts, you're wrestling with something, now is the time to wrestle with them. You can write your question down, sure, on a CAD and drop it in the basket. Or you can just yank me aside. I'll be out and about all over the place. Yank me aside and ask your question, because I want to make sure that you know that I am here for you. You're the reason why I came. And now with that, one of the reasons why I came is because I think our culture is not under assault, because I think the Christian worldview is winning. But I think our culture finds itself in a very unique place, and it's been influenced by an idea. And I think when we start talking about this idea, many of you guys are going to find that you've actually been influenced by this idea without even knowing it. And that idea is called relativism. Now, I love to start my conversations about relativism with my favorite Bible verse. Of course, this is out of Second Opinions. I am one of the ways, one of the truths, and one of the possible lives. You can come to the Father through me or not. Live and believe whatever seems right to you as long as you're sincere, and of course the caveat, and as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. Now, why are we all giggling? Because, well, who said that's a lie? Yes. Are you a student? I can't tell. Oh, you're a good dad then. Or a youth pastor, yes. Yes, it's a lie. What's the real verse? That's right. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me, is what Jesus said. Jesus' claim here is exclusive, meaning Jesus is saying it's my way or the highway. And during the intro here, you guys heard that I was an atheist. I was an ardent atheist, not just a random atheist. I was the type of atheist that you did not want to run into. If I found out you were a Christian, I'd say, can I please buy you a cup of coffee, because I need to tell you how dumb you are for believing in God. And being an atheist in the way I was, we're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow, if you had said these words to me, I would have become irate. I would have said something like this: how dare you claim to have the only way? You are exclusivist, you're bigoted, and there's no room for you in the world. How dare you pretend to know the truth? And in hindsight, the reason, the philosophy underneath this, the reason why I would have said this is because I was what you call a relativist. Now, who here has heard the term relativism before? Great. Relativism, I was a relativist, meaning I didn't adhere to an absolute understanding of truth. My saying would have been, whatever blows your hair back, not mine, obviously. Whatever lights your candle, right? Whatever, you do you, boo, right? Is what you kids are saying these days. You do you. All of that is relativism. You see, relativism, and this is the fancy definition off of the internet, it's the doctrine that knowledge, truth, and morality exist in relation to culture, society, and historical context and are not absolute. Belief in objective truth does not exist, according to the relativist. Now, and the reason why I think that this is important to understand what relativism is, because not only was I a relativist, but when you go out onto the college campus today, who here has dreams of going to college? Students, yeah? Some of you guys? When you guys go off to college, this is the prevailing worldview on the college campus. Not just here in Oregon, not in California, but in Massachusetts, Ohio, Texas, wherever you're going to go, this is the prevailing worldview, that there is no truth. Friedrich Nietzsche, he described it. Friedrich Nietzsche was a brilliant philosopher and atheist. And I like what he says. This is a relativistic statement. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, the only way, it does not exist. Friedrich Nietzsche says there is no truth. To which I respond, really? Does anybody see, not parents, not leaders, students, do you guys see anything interesting about this statement, there is no truth? What is it? Just yell it out. What did you say? No, you didn't say. What's back here? A plus. Brilliant. You're absolutely brilliant. Look, your parents should be so proud of you. Yes. This statement that there is no truth is itself a truth claim. Is itself a truth claim. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but next time somebody comes to you and said there is no truth, ask them a question. Ask them the question, is it true that there is no truth? See, some of you that went over your head, don't worry, it'll hit somebody behind you, or you're going to get it on the ride home tonight or back to the hotel. Yeah, but this is a relativistic statement. And I had said that this is the prevailing view on the university campus today, and I have proof of this. I have proof of this because I go to universities and I stand outside classrooms or in quads or in open spaces, and I love to get into conversations with people. So guys, I have a short video here of me talking to people. This is me at the University of California, Irvine, a great school, talking with students. And then as you're listening to them, I want you guys to be thinking, well, that sounds interesting or strange or weird, and then we'll talk about it. So would you say that you're a Christian because it's true?
Yes.
And what's it mean to be true?
To be true, I guess, is individualistic. Everyone has their own views on truth.
So is it just right and good for you, or is it right and good for everybody?
Well, when you assign yourself to those like collective beliefs, you really have to be careful about what you call true. But for me, like what I believe in is because what I believe is true.
I'm asking if you guys grew up in any religious tradition.
Yeah, we grew up in an Islamic household, all three of us.
Okay, are you guys all three still Muslims?
Yeah.
Why are you guys Muslim?
Well, I just grew up on the faith. It made sense to me, and then gives me a sense of peace practicing.
If you could be shown Islam is not true, would you reconsider your belief system?
I don't think so.
Why not? That's a really interesting answer.
Just because like I personally like believe in it really a lot. Like just it's not like I am Muslim because like I was like born into a Muslim family and everything. But like I did find the religion myself.
Is it, when you say it's true, is it true for everybody or is it just true for you?
That's a tough question. Yeah, but.
I can say it's true for me. Everyone has their own beliefs. Everyone has their own ideology. So if you're saying that's one religion is true, the other's not, that's kind of not how it is. I let others believe what they believe, but let me believe what I believe, you know?
My first question to you is, are you a Christian?
No, I'm not.
And my next question is, why are you not a Christian?
My parents grew up in India, and they were raised with really strict religious parents in Hinduism. And when they tried to instill that into me and my siblings at a young age, it didn't really set. I didn't really get the whole religion thing.
Would you say that they're equally valid, even though there's a contradiction, or is one way the right way and one way is the wrong way?
I think it's a personal choice. As long as it gives you a sense of peace for what you're following, then just go with that one.
Just go with whatever works, kind of.
For you, whatever gives you peace at the end of the day.
Dude, I wish that like track, like that music followed me everywhere I went and just played whenever I walked into a room. That'd be so dope. So, but what stood out to you guys? Did anything stand out to you guys? Let's have a conversation about this. Anything at all? Yeah. So they're repetitive, kind of. Okay, yeah, repetitive. Sure, I think that happens. Right here, yep. Yes. They were willing to buy into and believe something that's false because it brings them comfort. Now, my next question to one of them would have been, well, what if killing people because they look different than me brings me comfort? You know, clearly we don't want to live in a world like that, right? But that's very interesting. I asked them, you guys realize that I asked those Muslim students, if I could show you that what you believe is false, would you still believe it? And all three of them said, yeah, we would. Guys, this is an important thing to bring home. If you don't take anything from the next, I got like 40 minutes left with you. From the next 40 minutes, guys, I am not a Christian, and you should not be a Christian because it makes you feel good. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't make you feel good. Sometimes Christianity hurts because sometimes we have to deal with sin in our own lives, right? So I'm not a Christian because it makes me feel good. I'm a Christian for one reason. I'm a Christian because it's true. And what do I mean when I say it's true? Well, that's what the question we have to be asking and answering. What is truth? And I'm going to put some definitions up on the screen to guide our conversation. So truth is that which accurately reflects reality. I love it. When I'm teaching my girls this, I say reality is the way the world really is. And truth describes that reality. Now, the fancy philosophical term for this is the correspondence theory of truth. What is true is that which corresponds to the world around us as it really is, to reality. Now, truth is factually and logically correct. I love these next few. Truth is discovered, not invented. We don't invent truth, we discover it, which is so cool. It makes my mind go, because this one, truth exists independent of being known. That means, guys, right now, there are a whole lot of truths out there that haven't even been discovered yet. That means some of you in this room, some of you students, as you go out into the world and you take seriously your studies or whatever it might be, or maybe you're going to be an architect or a builder, or maybe you're going to be a mathematician, or maybe you're going to be a builder. You're going to discover truths that haven't been discovered yet. And this last one here is really important. Truth is not belief. Why do you think that's important? What do you guys think? Yeah. People don't always believe what's true. I mean, we all, any one of us, have a number. Right now, at this moment in time, we probably have a number of false beliefs. Now, it would do well if we visit a false belief and we find out that it's false, we should correct it to the true belief. And the true belief would be that which accurately reflects reality, the world around us. But so just because you believe it doesn't make it true. Does that make sense to you guys? Now, and then this stuff's important because there's two ways that something can be true. And we're going to look at those two ways, objective and subjective, and then there's going to be a test. I'm serious, guys. Some of you are like, what, test? No, there is. Watch. Okay, so objective versus subjective truth. Have you guys heard these terms before? Awesome, great. Who here is homeschooled? Oh, goodness me. Okay, yeah, you guys are like, this is so boring. This is like second grade stuff, man. Yeah, well, objective and subjective truth, okay? So pay attention because we are going to ask some questions and see where we feel on this. I like when I'm talking about this conversation to relate it to these two things, ice cream and insulin. So when you hear the word subjective, I want you to think of ice cream. Now, my favorite flavor of ice cream is Haagen-Dazs mint chocolate chip. Yes, and you guys, you who agree with me are saints of God. Everybody else, I'm concerned for you. I am concerned for you. Now, okay, I'm going to ask a few of you, what's your favorite flavor? You with the hat. Yeah, you. You knew wearing that hat you were going to get picked on, right? Okay. So what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Rocky Road. Rocky Road. Yeah, I like Rocky Road. I can go with that. Okay, way in the back with the hand up. Rainbow sherbet. I can get down with rainbow sherbet. Okay, yeah, this young lady. Chocolate chip cookie dough, yeah. Anything but chocolate. Yeah, is there anybody here who likes chocolate? Oh, that is awful. Chocolate is not the best flavor of ice cream. Now, now, hear me out, students, come back to me. Does it make sense? Does it make sense for me to say you're wrong to say that chocolate is your favorite flavor of ice cream? Why is it wrong? Because it's a matter of personal preference and opinion. That's what it means for something to be subjectively true. If it's subjectively true, it means it's true of the subject, me, my opinion about ice cream. So subjective truth, something to remember, is subjective truth is neither true or false. It's personal preference. It changes with the person. Now, the next object, the objective truth is insulin, right? Have you guys ever heard of insulin? Okay, so there are people, there might be some of you here who have diabetes, and if you go to the doctor, they're going to prescribe you with a medication to help you regulate your blood sugar, insulin. Usually it involves a shot. Now, I hate shots. Shots give me the heebie-jeebies. I can't look at them. I usually don't like to get them. I'll avoid them at all costs. I don't like getting shots. Now, if my doctor knows I don't like getting shots, and I go to the doctor and he says, John, I am so sorry to diagnose you with diabetes, and he says, we're going to have to prescribe something to you. I know you don't like shots, so instead what we're going to do is you have to go home and eat 2 gallons of Rocky Road ice cream. What would happen? Dude, I'd die. Is that a good doctor? No, that's a bad doctor. Get a new doctor if he says that. He needs to prescribe to you insulin because the insulin is what helps your diabetes. It's not up to my personal preference. Just because I don't like needles doesn't mean it doesn't help me. Does this make sense? So objective truth is either true or false. It's either true or false. It's a claim, a truth claim about the object, in this case, insulin. It's not a matter of personal preference. So subjective truth is ice cream. It's neither true or false. Objective truth is like insulin. It's either true or false. Are you guys picking up what I'm throwing down so far? Who here feels good? You guys feel good? All right, are we ready for the test? All right, hey guys, it's that time. And your salvation lies in the lines here. So good luck. What I'm going to do is just to drive this home and talk about this a little bit, right? So you've got subjective truth, which is personal preference, it's opinion. And then you've got objective truth, it's fact. It's either true or false. I'm going to put some statements up on the screen, and then we're just going to take a poll as to whether you guys think they're objective or subjective. The first is, John is wearing a hot pink shirt. Okay, raise your hand if you think it's subjective. Who thinks I'm John? Thanks. That matters. So who thinks it's subjective? Who thinks it's objective? Okay, it's somebody who raised the subjective hand. Can you answer me why you said subjective? Yeah, in the back. Yeah, that's a good question. This comes up every single time. So they could be colorblind. But does colorblindness affect the actual color of something? What is color? What are we seeing when we see color? We're seeing wavelengths, right? So if somebody is colorblind, does that change the wavelength of an object? No. It's still that color. It's objective. So whoever said objective is absolutely right. You can also hate hot pink, and it doesn't mean my shirt's not. And you could love hot pink and say, wow, I really wish John was wearing a hot pink shirt, and it doesn't change the color of my shirt. Okay, so you guys ready for the next statement here? You guys okay? All right. You guys are being so like a big audience this size. All right, blue is the best color. Blue is the best color. Who here thinks it's objective? Who says subjective? All right, who wants to tell me why? Yeah. Because beige is a better color? I'm not sure that's the reason why. Yeah, yes, sir. It's preference and opinion. It doesn't make sense to tell me I'm wrong to say that my favorite color is blue. It is blue. But it doesn't make sense because it's a matter of personal preference. It's a subjective claim. It's about me, not the object. It's about me. Okay, next statement here. 2 plus 2. You know what? I'm going to change this one. Don't read the screen. 2 plus 2 equals 5. 2 plus 2 equals 5 is the statement. Who thinks that's subjective? Who thinks it's objective? Can I ask you why? No. Whoever raises, she's like, absolutely, a fear. Who raised their hand subjective? Why is it subjective? Because it's not true. Because it's not true. Interesting, okay. Who said objective? A student. Why?
Because objective is true or false. 2 plus 2 is 5 is false.
Because it's either true or false if it's objective. Does my opinion about the math equation change the answer? Man, I wish I lived in that world. Like, who here is in pre-algebra? Don't you wish that was the world? Like you get your test back and it's just 100% because it's all based on your feelings. Amazing. But unfortunately, the universe that we live in, mathematical things don't change according to our personal preference. My wife is actually a mathematician. That's what she does for work. It's crazy. She loves numbers, and she loves it. She thinks it's fun because it's systematic. And when you get to the end, it's either right or wrong. There's no emotion. There's no feelings in it. It's objectively true. That's right. It's objectively true. Vacations are best when snowboarding. Who here likes to snowboard? I love snowboarding. Yeah, okay, so who here thinks that this is an objective statement? Objective? Who here thinks it's subjective? Yeah, you guys are picking up. That's right, it's subjective because it's a matter of personal preference. It's my opinion. It doesn't make sense. Some of you want to go swimming in the ocean. We just booked literally today. My wife is booking the flights. We're going to Hawaii. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I can't wait. Maybe my vacation preference will change, but there's no objective nature to it. You know, it's based on the personal preference, whatever you like. All right, now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty here, and this is going to highlight why this is important, guys. The statement, God exists. God exists. Who thinks it's objective? Who thinks it's subjective? Subjective? No, he's like, no, don't call on me. Who thinks it's subjective? Who thinks it's objective? All right, who wants to tell me why it's objective? Yeah. Because it's the truth. What do you mean by truth? Okay, what's that mean? Something that is either true or false based on reality. If I wake up tomorrow morning really angry with God and not wanting him to exist, does that change his nature? Does that mean he goes into and out of existence according to our personal preferences? No. God either exists or he doesn't. And now I haven't argued either way yet, right? So he either exists or he doesn't. It's an objective truth claim. So what we're doing is looking at the nature of a claim, not the claim itself. Keep that in mind as we dig in here a little bit more. That's right, it's objective. Jesus is the only way to salvation for all people. Who says subjective? Who says objective? Who says subjective? Nobody. Subjective. Some of you are like, I want to raise my hand so bad, but I'm not gonna. Who wants to explain why it's objective? Yeah. Okay. So Jesus says to love people, and then we should be telling people about this. Sure, okay, but that's not why this claim is objective. Who here wants to tell me why it's objective? In the back there. Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay. Great reasoning, but no. Yeah. This is really simple, guys. Yeah. It's simpler than this. It's simpler than this. In the back row. Okay. Yes, thank you, my brother. What's your name? What's your name? Jameson is right. Did you guys hear what he said? He says, because he either is or he isn't. So yes, all of these claims that you were making are fantastic reasoning, guys. Your reasoning is spot on. Really great arguments as to why he's the only way. But all we're doing is looking at the nature of the claim itself right now, not whether or not it's true. The claim itself that Jesus is the only way is objective. I could say the opposite and would be equally objective, that Jesus is not the only way because he either is or he isn't. Are you guys picking up what I'm throwing down? You see how it's getting a little bit more difficult? And now the reason why it's getting a little more difficult for us to kind of reason through these things in our minds as we're going through this is because I want you to see something here. What's happened in our culture is we've taken certain truths or claims of science and medicine, mathematics, and we all intuitively know that they're objective in nature, outside of personal preference. But then it's equally true is as a culture, what we've done is we've taken other types of claims of religion and morality, and without really knowing it, we've put those things into the subjective category when they don't belong there. Because the claim 2 + 2 = 4 is the same type of claim as God exists. They're both objective in that they're either true or false. My personal opinion doesn't alter the truthiness of the claim. Does that make sense? keep this in mind as you go about your daily lives and you're listening to people speak. Have this in your mind, and I guarantee you things are going to start popping for you. Murder is immoral. Now, I'm going to define murder. Murder is the unjust taking of an innocent human life. An unjust taking of an innocent human life. Now, who thinks that this claim, that murder is immoral, is subjective? Okay? Who thinks it's objective? Can I ask you, gentlemen, why you think it's subjective? Right. So just because the serial killer says it's fine, does that mean it's fine? He has an opinion. We all have opinions about everything. But does it make the nature of it moral? If I convince this whole entire room that it's okay to go outside and start burning Teslas, right? Does that make that action right? To them, but according to the law? No. You see, what's interesting is this is the argument that Nazis used in Nazi Germany when they got brought to trial in Nuremberg. Do you guys know about the Nazis and what they did in the Holocaust? Right, so when the armies went in and they liberated the concentration camps, and then there's a manhunt going on for all of these Nazi war criminals, these people who came up with this final solution to kill all these people. And when they capture them, they brought them to trial in Nuremberg before the World Court. Now, this was a court made up of judges from all of the nations. And during the trial, the defense that the Nazis put forth to the court was, we were just doing our jobs. This was acceptable within the culture we lived. And how did the court respond? No way. They actually said, there's a law above the law, recognizing that there are moral principles that are objective in nature. There is either right or wrong out there. And it's not up to personal preference and opinion. This is an objective truth claim. It is always wrong to take the life of an innocent human being. Always. Always. This next claim, elective abortions are immoral. Now when rubber's hitting the road, right? Elective abortions are immoral. Who thinks it's objective? Who thinks subjective? It's hard, right? I understand where you're at. Okay, who said objective? Can I ask you why? It's either wrong or it isn't. My personal opinion about the subject doesn't change whether it's immoral. I just spent last weekend in Washington, D.C. at the hands-off protests. I had an absolute ball. Until I was there, I had no idea I was a Nazi. I had no idea that I was a fascist. I had no idea that I was an immoral human being. You know, it's crazy what people will call me. It's unbelievable, just because I have a differing opinion. And these are the tolerant ones, right? Calling me all these names. But I had a lot of conversations about this. And this is a impassioned conversation, abortion is. But it's not our opinion that changes the morality of the action. It's objective. Now, I haven't proven the case yet. I could say elective abortions are moral, and the claim is still objective in nature. Now, some of you are sitting there going like, why is this even important? Well, I have a friend, and he has a great illustration, Francis Beckwith. He teaches at Baylor University. And one of the students, they were talking about this stuff, and one of the students, he says, they said, well, you've talked a lot about truth, but why does truth even matter? And I love how he responds. He says, do you want the true answer or the false one? You see, truth matters. Truth matters because we live our lives according to what's true, or at least we ought to. We all saw it when the Muslims in my video, right? And the Muslims in my video, when I asked them the question directly and said, hey, if I could show you that this was wrong, would you still believe it? And all of us, I hope, or most of us, when we saw them say, yeah, I'd still believe it because it works for me, I hope some of us were like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. And the reason why is because ideas have consequences. John Stonestreet, I love John Stonestreet. He's a Christian apologist, philosopher. He's phenomenal. And he actually says it this way. He says, ideas have consequences. Bad ideas have victims. And I love that saying. And here, and nowhere else, I think, is it more important to understand the consequences to the ideas that come from relativism, the idea that all truth is subjective. It's a matter of personal preference and opinion. The first consequence is that relativism undermines sin. Why is it? Well, think about it. So think about it. The only way that sin is real is if there's an objective moral standard. Because unless there's an objective, a real moral standard, we can't violate that law, that standard. So if sin isn't real, if there's no objective standard of morality, if relativism is true and there's no objective standard, that means there's no sin. And watch how quickly this goes. If there's no sin, that means there's no guilt. And if there's no guilt, that means there's no need for a pardon. And if there's no need for a pardon, that means there's no need for who? Jesus. You see, we live in a world that's been infiltrated and there's undergirding of relativism. And one of the reasons why it impacts us so much is because when we talk to people about sin and the need for a rescue, they think of it according to relativistic terms. That's just your opinion. But does that take our view seriously? When I say I'm a sinner, it's not just I think I'm a sinner. It means I violated something and I need to be rescued. But if relativism is true, you need no rescue. So it undermines sin. I love the way Lewis puts it. It's after you've realized that there's a moral law and a power behind that moral law, and that you've broken that law and put yourself wrong with that power. It's after this, and not a moment sooner, that Christianity begins to talk. And I'll tell you what, guys, if I'm honest with you, can I just be honest with you this weekend? Can I just tell you guys the truth, just be honest? This was a major issue for me as an atheist. Reality is the way the world really is, and when you don't live according to reality, you bump into it, and some of those bumps hurt. And this really hurt, because I used to think that morality was a system that we just made up. But try living that way. Try living that way. Try bringing up moral objections. If morality doesn't exist, if there's no standard, you can do whatever you want. There is no right or wrong. You have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the true way, it does not exist, according to Nietzsche. So it undermines sin. Consequence number 2, relativism undermines our mission. It undermines our mission. Think about it, Matthew 28, right? Go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded. If relativism is true, then there's no obligation to do that. There's no obligation to do anything, Jesus said, if relativism is true. If relativism is true, we're wasting our time here today and this weekend. Who here drove more than 2 hours to get here? Who here drove more than 4 hours? How far did you guys drive? How far is that? 4 hours and 15 minutes. Holy smokes, you wasted your time. If relativism is true, but it's not. That's good. But the second consequence is that it undermines our mission, what we're called to do. Why obey any of the commandments? Because it's all just a matter of personal preference and opinion. Relativism and religion, they equal something called religious pluralism. You guys have seen it in the coexist bumper stickers. Have you guys ever seen those stickers? Right? It's the idea that all religions are equally valid and true. There's many roads up the mountain. You're all going to the same place. But is that true? Does that take seriously the claims of Christianity? I don't think it does. And we're going to look into that in a second. Relativism morality is moral relativism. That's where you have your way, that's Nietzsche. That's whatever blows your hair back. That's whatever lights your candle. You do you, boo. You know, you just do your thing, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody. It's funny, it's interesting that people throw that caveat on. As long as why not? Who cares if I hurt somebody? I like hurting people. It works for me. Right? But can we imagine living in that world? Does that reflect the way the world really is? But that's relativism. That's relativism. This is something I want to go over with you guys called the trick of tolerance really quickly. I'm going to have to fly through it. I've got 10 minutes. Who here has been called intolerant for their views? Some of you guys, yeah. I have, all the time. I'm the only Christian in my family. I mean, my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad, their families, they're all atheists. I am called the most incredible names, and intolerant is chief among them. But there's been a shift in what we've come to understand as tolerance. I think that this is important. You know, the culture defines tolerance as agreeing with people. Not only agreeing with people, not only total agreement with people, but it's accepting all ideas and going a step further in that in order to tolerate somebody, not only do you have to agree with them, not only do you have to accept them, but then you have to support their ideas. And if you're not, you're intolerant. But the true definition of tolerance means to recognize and respect others' beliefs in practices without sharing them, to bear with or put up with them. Notice to tolerate something inherent in the definition of tolerance means you're disagreeing with somebody. If you're agreeing with somebody, you're not tolerating them. You're agreeing with them. So to tolerate somebody is to have a good conversation with somebody, to put up with their ideas while in the face of disagreement. And it's important. Next time somebody calls you intolerance, right? If you're talking to somebody about Christian worldview, this is what I want you to do. I want you to notice something. You can correct them in their understanding, but I like leading in like this. Oh, John, you're intolerant. Oh, yeah, well, you're ugly and your mother knows it. Whoa. Notice when somebody calls you intolerant, all they're doing is calling you a name. They're not actually addressing anything you're saying. They're just calling you a name. So I could respond with you're ugly, but that's not how we as Christians should respond. Instead, what you could say, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow morning, what do you mean by intolerance? Because to tolerate something I thought meant inherent in that is to disagree with one another. Could you help me out here? And you can move towards them. Or say, hey, you know what? Can we just not call each other names and can we just get back to what we're talking about? And show it that way. So here's a solution to deal with relativism. It's called taking the roof off. Now look at that animation, guys. Okay. That wasn't nearly good enough. This animation took me longer to create than the entire rest of the presentation. So guys, watch this animation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll close in prayer. Yeah, no. This is what we call taking the roof off. The complicated name for it, the logical name for it is reductio ad absurdum. And when people are being relativistic, whether it be through religious claims, religious pluralism, or moral claims, moral relativism, there's a way that we can combat those bad ideas and show somebody that those ideas are bad without actually having to know much at all and without seeming offensive. And it's called taking the roof off. And the key is the 3 steps. It's super easy. The first step is adopt the other person's view, follow their view to its logical but absurd conclusions, and then ask a question that graciously exposes the absurdity of their view. And we all know this. We've all done this before, especially as parents, or maybe you've had it done to you before your parents. Say your father and his daughter, and the father asks his daughter, hey, why'd you start smoking? Don't smoke, it's bad for you kids, right? It stunts your growth. No, but why'd you start smoking? And then the response from the daughter is because all my friends are doing it. Now, what's the dad gonna respond? Yeah, well, yeah, if all your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do the same thing, you idiot? Yeah, they don't usually say you idiot, but yes. That's a reductio ad absurdum. It's adopting the person's view for the moment, removing the absurdity of it, but then carrying it out to its absurd logical conclusions. Are you gonna do what every your friends do? That's dumb. We don't wanna do that way. If all your friends jumped off a cliff, would you do it too? Now, let's apply this to 2 claims here. Morals are relative, and what's right for you is up to you. Now, this is a thoroughly relativistic claim here. So what we're going to do is we're going to adopt for the moment that this person, what they're saying is true, that morals are all relative. You know, and what's right for you is right for you, but not wrong or right for me. So if you adopt that view, the logical question to ask is, oh yeah, can I punch you in the face? Yeah, I'm a pretty big guy. No, of course not. But what if hey, you know what? My new form of saying hi to people that I really like is to punch them in their face. Do you have any thoughts on the matter? Well, no, I don't want to be thought on my face. I have a real life example of this. So my brother Dan, he's a really good guy. He just left the program. He started a nonprofit in inner city Boston, helping impoverished teens and families. It's called Tech Goes Home, fantastic organization that he started. He loves people, he's a good man. He's an atheist, but even worse, he's a vegan. Yeah. Do you think you'd want heaven without meat? Without bacon? You know? But he's a vegan. But not only is my brother Dan, not only is he an atheist vegan, he's an environmentalist, but he is true blue in his environmentalism. Homeboy doesn't wear anything leather. He's got like plastic belts and shoes. You know, no leather in his car, no leather anywhere in his house. He tries to live the ethic that he believes, and I respect that. At least he's trying to be consistent. So keep these things in mind: atheist, vegan, environmentalist. So me and my brother, we're talking about this very thing, objective moral values and duties existing in the world around us. And we're outside of my office. At the time, I was a full-time pastor at a fairly large church in Newbury Park, California. And we're outside, and we're talking, he's visiting, and we're talking about this stuff. And he's saying, John, no, moral laws, they're a product of the culture and the society. We fall under a social contract, which is the way it says. And I, no, Dan, there's an objective standard above that standard, and it comes to us by God. And when we violate that, that's where guilt resides. And we're like the same people, like my brother and I. We're passionate, and our love language is like yelling at each other. You know, so like we're in this conversation, like going at it. And my boss comes out of the building. He's like, John, you guys need to calm down. We can all hear you screaming at each other in the office. And I was like, all right, cool. You know what? You're right. We're impassioned. And I said to Dan, Dan, listen, he's probably right. Doug's right. We're producing far more heat than light in this conversation. Let's pause. And Dan, I want to invite you to an amazing occasion. Every year, I gather 5 or 6 of my really good friends, they're all guys, and we go and we rent a house on Lake Arrowhead, which is a beautiful area of Southern California, a beautiful lake surrounded by trees, and there's like these huge cabins that dot the lake. It's amazing. And I said, Dan, it's a fantastic opportunity. We can eat good food. Hey, I'll scrub off the grill and create like a little vegan side for your barley or whatever it is that you're gonna eat. And we can do whatever you want. You know, I'll make sure that we do that. And he's like, wow, that sounds really interesting. I said, no, Dan, I haven't gotten to the best part of the vacation yet. The best part of the vacation is what we do on the last day is we get a boat, and we all go out on the lake, and we bring with us a 50-gallon drum of sulfuric acid. And what we do is we take that acid and we dump it into the lake to see how many fish it kills. And before we do that, we all place a bet on how many fish. And the person who gets closest to the number of fish it kills gets all the money. You know, and by the time I'm done saying this, my brother, I look up and he had veins sticking out of him that I didn't even know existed. And what do you think he said to me? What do you guys think he said? He says, you can't do that. And I said, Dan, of course I can do that. I can rent a house on Lake Arrowhead. In fact, I do. I can rent a boat and go out on that lake. I am really good friends with the chair of the chemistry department at Pepperdine University. He could probably get me some acid. What you mean, Dan, what you mean is I ought not do that. And I said to him, I stepped back and I said, Dan, now it's up to you to tell me where you're getting that oughtness from. Because in his worldview of atheism, which is a relativist, all he can do is describe what is or his personal preference. There's no oughtness to his worldview. And it was great, actually. He stepped back, he looked up to the upper right, and he said, John, you know what? You've given me something to think about, which is my goal. I just want to give him something to think about, which we'll talk about tomorrow morning. This is how we take the roof off of people who think morality is subjective. We follow their view to the logical conclusions and carry it further into the absurd. And then we sit back and let them respond. Next time somebody is telling you what's right is up to us to decide, if they put their, I'm telling you, do this. If they put their phone on the table, just nonchalantly pick up their phone, put it in your pocket, and walk out the door. And see what happens. What are you doing? I just wanted a new phone. There's nothing wrong. Oh wait, are you saying there's something wrong with this? Is that matter of personal preference? Well, my personal preference is I want the new phone. What happens when personal preference goes like this? You see, I think intuitively we all know that there's a law outside of us. Really quickly, 2 minutes. All teachings All religious teachings are the same, or all religions teach the same. This is patently false. Patently false. Let's just take the major three monotheistic religions in the world. You got Judaism, Islam, Christianity. All of them teach something about Jesus. On Judaism, who does the Jews say Jesus is? False prophet. Did he die on a cross? He died on a cross.